This video is meant to demonstrate some of the visual cues that you can use to determine whether the photochemistry that you're using is going to work or not. I'm in the darkroom and need to set things up for my darkroom session, but I first want to make sure that all the chemicals are going to work for me, because if they don't, it can mess up the development process of my paper. For reference, all of these tips are on this poster right here, some things to remember, so you can review that if necessary. First thing I have to do is get some developer out of here, and what I'm going to look for when I'm pouring my developer is the color of the developer. This developer is still relatively new, and you can see that it is not totally clear, but it is only tinted slightly brown, and that is still safe. What you want to avoid is your developer turning this color. This dark brown Coke or coffee color is going to mean that the developer needs to be discarded and new developer needs to be made. I will be checking chemistry regularly throughout the term, but you should always be able to tell if chemistry needs to be dumped. This is still good for right now, as long as it doesn't get left out under the lights or in open air. This should still be safe and good to use for a few more days. Once it starts to get dark, you'll notice that your paper develops more slowly, especially the dark areas, and you'll need to dump the developer. Developer is safe to go down the drain as long as you have water running to rinse it down as well. Here in the second tray, our stop bath should have a nice golden color, and this tray still does, because this stop bath is still in good shape. As stop bath gets used up and loses its effectiveness, it will start to turn purple, and it can actually turn dark purple relatively quickly, and it's something that you won't notice unless these white fluorescent lights are on. Under the stop lights, all the chemicals will look relatively clear, and so it's important to do a visual check under normal lighting conditions in order to determine whether the chemistry is still in good shape. If the stop bath is too purple, that can also go down the drain, and the new stop bath, fresh stop bath, should be on the other side of this sink underneath in the containers over there. Fixer is the trickiest and most important chemical to keep an eye on. As I mentioned in our video about developing prints, Fixer is what makes your image permanent and keeps your paper from changing and reacting to light once it's out of the darkroom. Because of that, the way that Fixer works is it absorbs all the unused silver in your paper, and that silver stays in the chemistry. And the only way to determine whether or not the Fixer is going to continue to fix prints is to test it regularly. At the beginning of a darkroom session, at the end of a darkroom session, and during printing, if there are lots of people around, testing Fixer may have to happen anywhere from once every hour to once every 20 minutes or so, depending on how much is getting used up. Depending on how many prints are being run through the Fixer tray. To test the Fixer, the easiest way is to use a scrap of undeveloped film, and there'll usually be a container of film sitting right here, and that is actually what we use for the film Fixer as well. So you'll have to test film Fixer occasionally as well. I'm just going to rip this off, right? Let me set this down. I'll show you what I'm doing. Let me reverse this. How do I reverse that? I can't. So I'm just gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna rip off a chunk of this film, like this. I should have done it beforehand. It's very easy to do, but I can also get scissors if I want. And I'm going to dip the, let's see, here we go. Film, like I said. I'm gonna dip this film into the Fixer, and I'm gonna swish it around, just like this. And what will happen is if the fixer is still working, after a minute or so, the fixer will render the film clear. And you can see, if I move it up here, see how you can see the darkroom tray through the film? That means that the fixer is taking the silver off of the film. You can see how very, very clear that is. There we go. You can see how it made the film very clear. So the part up here by my thumb, that's undeveloped film. And what the fixer does is it actually is removing the silver. So this tray of fixer is still working. So I would take this film, I'll throw it in the trash, and every so often as I'm working in the darkroom, I will get a new bit of film from this spare roll up here and test the fixer tray. If the film won't get clear, it means that the fixer has gone bad and the fixer needs to be dumped. Remember that I said that developer and stop bath can go down the drain. Fixer does not go down the drain because it has silver within it. So what we do is we collect our used fixer and we recycle it so that the metal content can be extracted before it gets dumped into the water supply. And the way that we do that is if this tray needed to be dumped, you pick up the tray, note the corner here that has a pouring spout, that's really important. And all of our used fixer goes into this funnel right here where it says used fixer only. No stop bath, no developer. I lift this up and this big funnel connects to a reservoir down here that says photo fixer, and this gets picked up by facilities and recycled. So you open up the funnel, you pour the fixer in, it gurgles down and does its splashy thing. You can see all the remnants of it splashing around. Close this up and grab some fresh fixer. Let me dart around here. Fresh fixer from the Paper Fix container down here. And like I mentioned before also, here's the stop bath in the container marked stop bath. The process for testing the fixer should also be done on film fixer, and if the container of film fixer in the classroom in 208 has gone bad, that container needs to come in here and go into the funnel just like the tray of fixer. Always keep an eye on your chemistry because you want to make sure that the chemicals are doing everything that they're supposed to be doing. And remember that those tips outlined in this video are also available here on this handy dandy poster.